When I started playing guitar, it was 1969 and the Beatles were breaking up by 1970 in April. And I pretty much missed the Beatles as well. But I was so happy to be on a planet when all four of them were here. It was a really cool time. And so they were just finishing up their studio years. And I just loved the idea of painting with sound and playing with, exploring with sound. I've been called a sound explorer, really. And I record everything, all these crazy sounds, and I put them in my songs. I've got crunching pine cones in a song called Total Badass, I think. And, there's just all kinds of crazy things you can do, as you know, but it started off with me just playing with like a Webcore tape recorder that my dad was using to record his voice. He was getting used to speaking, and he was going to sell insurance for the first time, so he was recording his voice. It was this big giant thing, really deep and heavy, and it had this little square dinky microphone and stuff. But I'd record my guitar and then play another part with it and listen back, and then wish I could harness both those parts, And I kept thinking, I need a dream machine. And I heard of multi-track tape recorders, and then Sam Goody, at the time, growing up in Paramus, New Jersey, started showing us these reel-to-reels, and they were these Teac reel-to-reels, and they were really expensive because they were 4-track reel-to-reel tape machines. But then all of a sudden they were on sale. I guess they were being discontinued or something. So the 4-track, the A2340, went down to like $600. And I guess, back then, in what year might that have been? I think that was 1977. I was 17 and I got my first multi-track recorder. Before then, I was bouncing back and forth between cassette decks. Play on one, play it back, and put it into the back of the other cassette deck with a mic and record on two. And I still have these recordings of cassette decks, cassette recordings, 14 tracks, super noisy, nasty sounding things. I didn't have a mixer. I had the 4-track, and the only way to bounce tracks internally was to take 3 of the 4 tracks and have outputs going to like adapters like this, and take 3 of them and put them into the 4th one that was left. And I remember buying all these crazy adapters at Radio Shack. Was it Radio Shack? No, it was probably some other kind of electronics store at the time. And I remember the salesman going, well, that's a hell of a way to do it. I've always loved gear. I've always loved buttons and knobs and switches and playing with the stuff, I have this funny picture I cut out of a Guitar Player magazine when I was a kid. I think it's from 1975. I was 15, right? So it's this guy all scruffy holding all these cables and having this very perplexed look on his face, and these amps and guitars and stuff like, how do you plug all this stuff in?